If you've been around this channel in the past, you know that I'm a huge nerd. It's kind of my whole brand. So with that in mind, I would probably be the perfect consumer for Marvel Rivals. If you don't know, Marvel Rivals is a third-person hero shooter developed and published by NetEase Games in collaboration with Marvel, aka it's an Overwatch clone. In a typical hero shooter, players compete to complete an objective while using unique characters with varying abilities. We usually get at least one new attempt at the genre every year, but none of them last. Overwatch, Valorant, and Apex Legends are some of the most prominent ones in recent memory that have stood the test of time. Now we have one of the most talked about attempts in years, Marvel Rivals. With the Marvel IP attached, this one had the best chance to catch the attention of the public eye. Additionally, it's no secret to anyone who has played the game in recent years that Overwatch has kinda gone down the toilet. The gameplay has suffered due to Blizzard's constant attempts to balance the game, cosmetics are grossly overpriced, and many promised features have been cut altogether. That being said, it's almost too big to fail at this point. The only choice players have had to play a well-made hero shooter over the last few years has been Overwatch. That is, until the launch of Marvel Rivals earlier this month. So, is Marvel Rivals enough to finally defeat Overwatch? Let's find out. Starting with the lore of the game, I think it shows promise but has some glaring flaws, just like Overwatch. I made a whole video complaining about the missing lore of Overwatch 2. Most of that game's lore exists in supporting materials like comics, animated shorts, and blog posts. Unfortunately, Rivals isn't much better. There's clearly a lot of love and care taken into character integrity. All of the characters and their stories seem to line up pretty well with the comic book origins and iconic storylines. However, there are no cutscenes in the game. All the lore and narrative information in the game has instead been communicated through trailers, character information sheets, and load screens. Yes, load screens. Look at this shit. This is absolutely insane. Especially when the game loads as quickly as it does. Maybe I'm just not as quick of a reader as I feel I am, but there is no way to read this much text and how little time it takes for the game to load. Outside of load screens, a lot of character backstories are also communicated in simple text-based stories in their character bios. Certain characters will even acknowledge the information from their bios in unique dialogue with other characters. For example, Jeff the Shark is commonly known as a friend to Kate Bishop in the comics. Hawkeye in the game will make a cute remark, checking in on Jeff for her and saying that she's been looking for him. This is just one of the examples where the game's fully voiced cast gets to shine. While the character interactions are nice, reading lengthy paragraphs of text isn't exactly the most exciting way to learn this information in a video game. The trailers have been used heavily to set up the storyline for the game. Currently the base narrative is Dr. Doom is fighting his 2099 self, and it's breaking time and reality. That's about as deep as it gets, and you know how I even know this information? Because it's in the trailer. So while I think the lore and characters in this game are more interesting than anything Overwatch has offered in the last few years, Marvel Rivals could definitely do more to make this information more interesting. I really hope to see some more integrated cutscenes in future events and updates. Next, I wanted to talk about the map design of the game. Currently, there are 4 different major locations: Asgard, Tokyo, Clintar, and a Hydra base. Inside of these locations are various smaller maps that are used for escort or capture-like game modes. I think these maps are fun, but there could be more. Currently, as I write this, the map rotation is broken, leaving most players stuck playing only on Asgard and Tokyo 2099, which is a real shame because the Hydra base map is one of the most unique. As the match progresses, the platforms shift and change and the entire map moves, even the objective leaving where it was originally standing at the start of the match. So while these maps are fun, I still think there are too few of them currently in the game. I think a few more maps could add to the game and fill out that rotation and make it so you no longer feel like you've played the last 7 matches escorting the cart on Asgard. Another part of the map design that is very unique to Rivals is the destructible environments. Throughout every level, there are walls, floors, and ceilings that you can bring crashing down with your attacks and abilities. I will admit, it does add a layer of fun to the game. Being able to smash through a wall to reach an objective faster, or bringing the ceiling down on your enemy's head, blocking their path, is a fun, unique way of using this. However, there are some wild cards involved with the destructible environments. You see, the destroyed environment resets and rebuilds itself after a certain amount of time. This can create some pretty unfortunate instances. For example, Wanda's ultimate functions very similar to D.Va's from Overwatch. She charges herself with chaos energy and erupts, killing anyone within a specific radius. The only way to survive this attack is to get behind something or place a shield between yourself and Wanda. Are you seeing where this is going? The environment rebuilding itself after a certain amount of time can create some complications, as enemies could possibly have cover from this attack restored just in time. While a unique feature, I think it will definitely take some balancing and getting used to before it will be used most efficiently. Looking at the gameplay, the game is at its basis a hero shooter. This is when each character has unique abilities and roles to complete an objective. In the case of Rivals, it is a 12-player 6v6 scenario. Personally, I will always root for 6v6 over Overwatch's current 5v5. I feel it leaves more room for error and feels less hyper-competitive. That being said, Rivals unfortunately has no role queue. This is where you must select which role you wish to play, and often there are a limited number of each role. While an open queue keeps things fun for people, it can be hard to balance your team when everyone wants to be a DPS or support, leaving you with no tank. This is just an inherent problem with hero shooters that will take some time to balance out once people find a nice flow to the game. That being said, the game actually does feel very balanced for the fact that it has 33 heroes at launch. Obviously, they're not all perfect. There are definitely some that are more powerful than others, like Jeff the Shark, Iron Fist, Psylocke, or Magneto. However, overall everyone feels pretty strong, to the point that it feels like...
And when everyone's super, no one will be.
Also, I personally believe some heroes should just be inherently broken. I know in a shooter like this you want it to be balanced and you want it to be competitive. But let's be real, the Hulk should be able to inherently take down Luna Snow because he's the Incredible Hulk. I also feel the supports in Rivals stand much more of a chance in a fight than the ones in Overwatch. When a support like Baptiste or Zenyatta is cornered in Overwatch, their only choice is to run unless that enemy is low enough health. In Rivals, the supports all have pretty strong attacks to put up a fight when cornered. That being said, there are way too many area of effect attacks in the game. These are specific attacks that impact a certain area of the map, usually dealing damage. Some prominent examples in Rivals would be Penny Parker's Spider Mines, Wanda's Dark Seal, or Namor's Aquatic Dominion. All of these attacks deal huge damage or prevent level progression, which can be a huge problem when you can't tell if it's friendly or not. I need the devs to create a more pronounced way to tell if an area of effect attack is friendly or not. Speaking of the at-time ugly visuals, I don't know how, but we have to do something about the UI. It varies by each character and can get so messy and frankly intimidating at times.
For example, Squirrel Girl only has 3 buttons.
Meanwhile, Loki has 6. This is an absolutely insane mess of a HUD that is confusing for new players. Arguably though, the most ingenuitive gameplay element of Marvel Rivals is the hero team-ups. As the name implies, this is when 2 or more heroes work together to pull off a power-up or special move they could not do alone. For example, Rocket Raccoon can provide the Punisher and Bucky with unlimited ammo for a limited time. It's a really fun mechanic that makes role selection and character picking pretty important in some matches. However, it's not perfect. Some of these team-up roles are extremely helpful to the point that not picking them can be detrimental to your team. For example, Magneto's most powerful ability that can one-shot some heroes requires you to have a Wanda, or the Scarlet Witch, on your team. It's a real bummer when you are playing as that Magneto and can't use your best ability because no one wants to play as Wanda. It's also a bit of a bummer that not every hero has the most exciting team-ups. Like I said, Magneto has an incredibly powerful ability. Meanwhile, Psylocke, who's been one of my favorite characters to play, she only has one team-up, and that's with magic, to basically give her a Tracer-like recall. I definitely think there's more to play around with as they add new characters, and I'll be excited to see where it goes. When looking at the cosmetic aspects of the game, it's really a mixed bag. When it comes to the skins for individual characters, they are pretty nice looking. They not only have the popular MCU skins, but also iconic comic costumes. The game being in third person also really helps you see the cosmetics you're wearing during a match. Unlike in Overwatch, where it's in first person and it's more of the character cosplaying as the crossover cosmetics. That being said, it is a free-to-play game, and the cosmetics are grossly overpriced. But again, that seems to be the standard for free-to-play games. The progression system in the game is also pretty slow and uneventful. Now, I'm not naive, I'm aware that it is designed to make you spend money. However, this Battle Pass does seem to be way too slow. For example, in Fortnite and Overwatch, one level up equals one reward. Meanwhile, in Rivals, leveling up doesn't matter. Instead, you must complete separate daily, weekly, and story quests to progress the Battle Pass. It feels tedious and brings progression to a halt, as you can only get 3 of each a day. This means that if you have finished all of your tasks by noon that day, you cannot progress the Battle Pass any further for the remainder of that day, which is a huge bummer. Additionally, some of these tasks are locked behind specific maps and co-op opportunities, which can be frustrating with the online matchmaking. I understand it's so that people familiarize themselves with the map and learn how to use the hero team-up abilities, but I feel like it wasn't exactly fully thought out. It's that idea of a group project. No one likes a group project, because then you're stuck relying on other people. So after all that, we must once again ask, will Marvel Rivals kill Overwatch? The short and simple answer is no. I don't think Overwatch is going to die off or lose any of its most loyal players to Marvel Rivals. However, I do think it will be appealing to those who have grown sick of Overwatch and are looking for something new to try. You also have to remember, Overwatch has an 8-year lead on this game, as well as a much larger budget at the start. Overwatch was developed as a $60 game at launch, while Rivals is built on the freemium approach. I personally have been having a lot of fun with it and encourage you to check it out. It's something new in the gaming space that has something to offer for both nerds and gamers. While it may not kill Overwatch like some of us were hoping, it certainly makes for a great alternative. Thank you so much for listening to my thoughts on Marvel Rivals. Let me know if you've been playing the game and what you think of it in the comments down below. If you like what you saw here and want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you know when that next one's coming. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.